You make your way into the tavern. But the goblins drink nectar mead as they bicker with the elves. You choose to sit with the bard and the troll, and this is what they have to say.
Hey everybody, grab a drink, pull up a seat. You're at the tavern with the troll and the bard. And what are we talking about today, man?
I think we're talking about Magic the Gathering today.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, buddy.
A card game that we have been playing since high school. I think we talked about this last episode. But yeah, we have been in it off and on for over a decade.
Yeah.
And it's been...
I think I was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
One of the two.
I must have been 16.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older than you. But yeah. So we're gonna talk about Magic.
Magic
for a while.
Boy.
Yeah. And some experiences with it, and we'll just get right into it. So
what was your first deck?
My first deck. My first deck that I ever built, like 100% built.
No. What is your...
Oh.
Can you remember? My first deck was like this green monster trample thing I bought from Walmart. I quickly got rid of that.
Yeah, I think I bought a pre-built deck.
It was fun though.
And was it Kamal the Pit Fighter?
What was it, dude?
It might have been that. Anyway,
I can't remember.
I think it was like a red. It was just an intro deck. I didn't really like it at the time, but
first deck you built?
The first deck I built was a mono white equipment deck. And that's when Mirrodin, that block, was out of rotation, so the cards went super cheap. And so I was able to pick them all up and just get, like all these like, ooh, +1/+1 sword. Ooh, so nice. Ooh. Just like commons and uncommons and stuff. And in case you don't know, equipment is really expensive to run, and white is just not good at getting mana like quickly. So the deck flopped. It was 100% a flop. But I liked it. But how about you?
You built a lot of decks, so
I built a lot of decks. I have never been, and I will probably never be happy with any deck I built, because I just like focus on the bad things that my deck has and the good things that other decks have, and I go, all right, scrap it. We're gonna build another deck, and I'll tear the whole thing apart, and I'll just build a new one from scratch. So I just rarely have the same deck for longer than, I don't know, a month.
Yeah.
But
that was back in the day.
No, I still do it.
Oh, you still do it?
I'm still terrible at it. Yeah. I don't have a deck right now.
Really?
Well, I mean, I have those little 60 card decks.
You don't have your mill deck or your...
Yeah. But those aren't even done. I never actually finished them.
Oh, really? How about your Rakdos artifact?
Yeah, I don't really consider that one done either. I've been slamming in cards for a while now, and it just...
I know what you mean.
I just can't get it to run how I think it should run, and I'm kind of like losing a little bit of faith in it. But, yeah, before we get to it, let's circle back, my man.
My first deck?
Your first deck, and the first deck that you built.
First deck was a green trample deck. It was fun. It got me in the game, I guess. But the first deck I built was a red-white with the Mimics.
Yeah, the Battlegate Mimics.
Battlegate Mimics.
And that deck stomped the high school lunch table.
Yeah, back in... I guess, I don't know. I guess it's just because we were younger, but, back then, everyone... was a lot newer when we played in high school.
Oh yeah. That's a big thing, is the power level that you're playing with in your group. Because if you had gone against like Justin and Ricky, or like gone to like a tournament,
That's who I was going against, though, on the side. Like, and then I'd go to school, you know?
But, like, I mean, your deck wasn't winning, like, near as hard against those guys who were, like, more into the competitive scene.
Yeah.
Bump something. We're okay. Then, like, just...
It was an accomplishment to beat young Rick in high school.
But, like, people were playing with 100% just Walmart decks. No sleeves. Just raw dogging it on a high school lunch table. And I'm surprised, like, we had any cards left by the end of the semester. Or the year. We didn't have semesters.
Yeah.
But
no sleeves.
No sleeves. Just raw. Straight out of the cardboard little box that the decks come in.
Such good times throwing down there.
Yeah.
There was one time where a teacher tried to tell us we weren't allowed to play. And I'm like, yeah, there's a club for this at this school. After school today. You're like, yeah, but you can't have cards, blah, blah, blah. We were back at it the next day.
Yeah. I mean, oh, it's gambling.
No, it's not, bud.
We probably should have been gambling. You should have been gambling. You had a really good win rate. But, yeah. So, how about you give a little, well...
Oh, I didn't even get the deep in dive in what was in my deck.
Yeah. Before we do that, let's talk a little bit about Magic as a whole, and then we can circle back. And just in case, you know, anybody has never heard of Magic, or at the very least they've never played Magic. Magic is a trading card game made by Wizards of the Coast, and it features 5 colors: white, blue, black, red, green, and it's been going on since
they just had 30
years so
anniversary.
Yeah, like 90s, like right after we were born, really.
Yeah.
And it's super popular, it's super competitive, but at the same time, like, all kinds of skill levels can play. Because, I mean, we were just high school kids playing at a lunchroom table, and how many games did we have, like, on the floor of my mom's living room, just testing out decks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kitchen table Magic is huge, and tournaments are huge, big prize money. Cards are worth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the real, like, the older ones. But yeah,
each player starts with 20 health. You got to get them to 0. You got thousands of cards to choose from, and you have to come up with a way to get your opponent to 0 before they do it to you.
Yeah. It's just a kill your opponent type of game. I mean, pretty much most cards are games are like that. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all these other ones, just kill the guy across from you kind of deal. But there's dozens of formats for this game, and that just means what type of decks and cards you're allowed to build and use. We got started on what's typically called kitchen table Magic, because you play it at your kitchen table, and it's just 60 cards, whatever set, whatever, you know, proxies, no proxies, like
whatever goes.
Yeah, 20 life, who dies first kind of deal.
So you said you really kind of got into it when you came to Gonzo's with me.
Yeah,
right?
I had been introduced to it. Someone showed it to me.
But you didn't actually play until you came with me.
No.
I was thinking about who got me into it.
Who got you into it?
I just want to give a little shout out here.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure it was Josh Cooper.
Cooper
Trooper. So shout out to him.
Yeah, we'll see if he ends up being the Bard of the Week for you. For getting you started on this this addiction that you now have.
What addiction?
Magic the Gathering, my
dude.
Cardboard crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an addiction. It's okay. We can talk about addiction.
I haven't bought any cards in a month.
I can quit whenever I want.
It's been a month. Yeah, I I have 5 decks right now. It's just regular 60 card decks. I use whatever cards.
Yeah.
I'm not going and playing tournaments, playing with the boys, throwing down at Glenn's.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's if you want to be competitive, the formats are like they're modern and they're pioneer and they're standard, and they have certain cards you can use, certain cards you can't use, and it's really specific, and especially standard. They rotate out sets so often that people end up selling their cards because they can no longer use them in tournaments. So finding these sort of, I believe they're called eternal formats, which just means the cards are good forever. You buy the card, you can use it there forever.
It's interesting.
Yeah, there's competitive ones that I can't think of right now. Because I'm never gonna play, because you need like the Power 9, and you need like your Lotus and all these stupid super strong cards that are like thousands of dollars each. But you can get that same sort of eternal format with casual formats, and that's what Kitchen Table Magic is. Commander is also like that. Pioneer is pretty lax too.
What's that, past 10 years? Or I think it's 10.
Yes. They picked a set, which I don't want to say the wrong one, but what they did was they picked a set, and then everything before that is banned, and everything up to now is legal. So if you started playing in, I don't even know, early 2000s and so on, all your cards are still good, which is great. Kitchen Table is probably the easiest to get into. It's just 60 cards, pre-built decks or whatever. Commander's a little bit harder to get into. You can buy pre-built decks for about $40. I think they might be like $45, $50 now, because they raised the prices. But it's also extremely casual, but it's bigger decks, multiplayer, and bigger life totals. And you can use, again, any card except for what's on the ban list. So tell me about some of your times playing Kitchen Table Magic. Some of your favorite times.
Some of my favorite times.
Yeah.
Just giving a Mimic a double strike and a Fist of Anvil against like some 15-year-old noob on the lunch table at school. So how much damage is that? 16.
16. Yeah. So
it's just good times. And then what else did I? Direct damage. Had like Balefire Lieges. Can't really roll those right now in a Boros. I think there's better ways to build Boros, and they don't include that card anymore. But back then, when no one knows really what they're doing, it was very strong,
Giving all your dudes pretty much all your dudes like +2/+2. Is just.
And then a Lightning
bonkers.
Helix.
Yes, yeah. It's also a Lightning Helix.
Mm.
But yeah, so the main strategy of your deck, right, would be to kind of try to get your Battlegate Mimic or any one of your creatures really kind of in there. And then what we call in response, which is when something is about to happen, you say, in response, I'd like to do this. And you kind of like interrupt that thing that's about to happen. So you would
maybe shock something.
Yeah. Or you'd swing in and it's like, hey, do you have any blockers? Do you declare any blockers? And they'd be like, no. And you go, all right. Like, in response to damage about to be done, you'd like pump up your dude, make him beefy, give him double strike, and all of a sudden that 2/2 is now hitting for like 16 damage.
Yeah.
And playing with 20 health, 16 is a big swing. Like, that's to just.
And then like Breon Stout Arms in there. I would like to maybe rebuild that deck one day just to see if it could stand up to anything.
There's probably better dudes that do what Breon does.
Yeah, I
Boros,
I like my Boros deck right now. Like,
yeah,
I'd rather have it than which crushed the other night. Oh, I was getting smack talk before I even got the Glens. He's like, Chris said, blah blah blah, and I was like, all right, I'll be over.
Yeah,
and I was like, boys, step aside. Like me and Chris got a 1v1 real quick before we play anything, and I think I beat him on turn 5 with the Boros deck.
Yeah, it's really good. And
on to the next game. It just took like about 5 minutes. Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris for getting whomped. Yeah. So, I mean, whenever you play Kitchen Table Magic, I mean, you don't care if it's 1v1. You don't care if it's 1v1v1. You don't care if it's 2v2. You don't care if you've got to take down 3 other people. Like 1v3. Like, the rules are so flexible. And I think that's kind of what makes it fun and accessible to everybody, is it's just like, do whatever. And, but what other decks? You said you've got 5 decks. So we've got the Boros pump.
I got the Boros. It's pretty deadly. Roll with 4 Eidolons in there. He's a creature for 2 red mana, and whenever someone casts a spell, mana costs 3 or less, he does 2 damage to them. So, as well as me. And that's just like, that's real strong. I think that's probably one of the better cards in the deck, but it's pretty it's a popular deck. I didn't build it.
Yeah.
But what else do I got? Black white tokens. Basically with that deck, I just looked at old black white token decks and new ones and just kind of combined them all together, and it's got a lot of control.
Yeah.
A ton of control now, and just pumping out tokens. Got 4 Bitter Blossoms, 4 Lingering Souls, 4 Spectral Processions, 3 Timely Reinforcements for 3 more tokens, and I need to add a 3rd Day of Judgment to it, because when I'm playing Free for All at Glenn's house, they are a little more convenient in what might be a 1v3.
Yeah, Day of Judgment's a board wipe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
destroy all creatures, yeah.
Yeah. So that's 2?
That is 2. I've got Jund deck, which is, I got 4 Bloodbraid Elves, and everything else costs less than 4. So I'm cascading into pretty much anything. And a little bit of card control. Turn 1, I can Inquisition you to see your hand. 4 Lightning Bolts. I've got 4 of the Oozes. Scavenging Ooze, yeah. Which are so much stronger than I thought.
Oh, yeah.
They're very strong. What else? 4 Tarmogoyfs. Which are pretty strong. What else? Can't think of what else. Very strong deck.
Alright, so 4th deck.
4th deck. My discard deck. So it is
mono black?
12 rack, basically. Mono black, yeah. All my artifacts and enchantments deal damage to you based on how many cards you have in your hand. And the rest of my cards make you discard your cards. And then when I pass a turn to you, you just take 12. Fuck.
Yeah. It's such a good strategy overall, because not only does it take away cards from my hand, so I have less like gas and less monsters, less land, less spells, everything, and I'm sitting there doing nothing on my turn. I just take damage for doing nothing on my turn. So it's brutal. It's
a rude deck. I knew it was going to be it was a rude deck to build,
it's
but
rude.
you know.
That's a nice way of putting it.
But you, then you just came out with the mill.
Yeah. I'm in the process of building a mono blue mill, and mill means that I take cards from your deck and put them into your graveyard. And so an alternate way to win in Magic that is either the ways to win in Magic are you reduce your opponent's life points to 0.
Or you make them run out of cards.
Yes. Another one is to, whenever they go to draw a card, if there are no cards in their deck, they lose. So my goal is to get rid of 60 cards as quickly as possible. And it's the same kind of effect that discard does. Discard takes it from your hand and puts it in the graveyard. Mill takes it from your library and puts it into the graveyard. So whenever we went up against each other, it was just constantly like we were just throwing each other's cards into the graveyard. And I was trying to get you down, to I think the lowest I got you was like 7 cards in your library, and then you killed me. So the deck isn't where I want it to be. And it might be stronger if I add black into it to just give me more options for discard and mill in general. But I wanted to try mono blue just to test it out. But yeah, both are rude strategies.
Okay. So that's
your
fourth. And then number 5 is the hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Which kind of reminds me of my Mimic deck in a way.
Yeah.
A little bit. It just reminds me of it. It's not really the same at all, but basically you're just casting mad spells and your creatures get pumped up every time you cast one. Mm-hmm. So you got like Manamorph in there to just cast a spell and give you more mana,
Yeah. And a lot of the spells you're casting also pump up your creatures. Mm-hmm. So you're like doubling up on pumps. So you can just, again, turn like a 2/2 or a 1/1 into some weird 24/24 double strike trample hasty boy.
Yeah, it's really aggressive. Like, obviously you can sideboard and find ways to beat it quickly. But, it's my least favorite of the bunch.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. But sideboarding is something I never really got into. I tried to get into. I just couldn't really do it.
I think just kitchen table, it's more fun not to,
Yeah.
Just try to build a deck, to keep those cards in your deck if you're gonna sideboard.
The sideboard is 15 cards that are outside of your deck. But in between rounds, I guess, matches, you can switch out cards in your deck for these 15 cards. So you can switch out 5 for 5, or 2 for 2, 1 for 1, 0 for 0, 15 for 15, whatever. And what it's supposed to do is give you flexibility against other strategies that maybe your deck is weak against. So if your deck is weak against...
It's just specifically targeting cards in their deck a lot of times. When you're going to round 2.
Yeah, it's used a lot in competitive for like against the meta. Like, you're going to run into this deck in the tournament because it's super popular. So you have cards that fight against that deck. And you just swap them out. Like and I hate building decks just to defeat someone else's deck. I feel like that's really like spiteful. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, Jesse beat me with his discard deck, so I'm going to build a deck that's only good against
so you
discard.
Did it?
Well, I made one that was, like, comparable.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because, like, discard is just, like I said, it's rude.
Yeah, but it's not like I built a deck that said, like, oh, your opponent's spells can't cause you to discard cards. Or, like, like every time you would discard a card, instead your opponent discards too. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's real spiteful
who does
stuff.
that, dude?
There's been people, like, salty Sams out there who've just
we gotta
gone at it like that. just you beat them with a deck and they build a deck that just counters your deck. They lose to everybody else, but they beat your deck with it.
I want to hear a word from a salty player who...
Are we giving a salty shout out?
Who did not win this game.
Oh, no. You're going to have to hold it close to the mic, probably.
You brought me down to, like, what, 8 health when you were supposed to have no creatures? Because you didn't sacrifice any on that turn you played that spell. You didn't sacrifice any... No, you didn't, because you got that 4/4 out there. This, and this, and this. No, it doesn't. No, it says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. So you lose. You cheated. No, isn't that how we're doing it, David? He cheated. He has not been sacrificing creatures at all. See that? Right there.
It's time to go night-night, Chris.
Nope. And Jesse, if he was to sacrifice all these... Be quiet for a second so I can explain this. Jesse, if he was to sacrifice...
Shout out to Chris.
It's
That's a typical game with him.
yeah. The first time I met him, it was like that. It's okay to be competitive, and I can understand like being bummed out that you lost, or like, hey, I don't think this was fair. But at the same time, everyone's there to have fun. If you're taking the game that seriously, you should probably be competing. That way everybody's, being as like aggressive and involved as you are in it. But I know I don't, and you don't. We don't have that vibe where it's just like we can have fun whether we win or lose.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who they can only have fun if they win, and if they don't win, well,
it ain't fun.
It ain't fun, and it's like, no, it's a game. It's called Magic the Gathering, not Magic the Poning.
What's some of your favorite Magic YouTube channels?
Yeah, I absolutely want to give a shout out. Because I got into Commander, and it's still my favorite format. So I'm going to give a shout out to an already very popular Magic the Gathering channel for Commander. But if you're new to Commander, or even Magic the Gathering, this dude's a good channel to check out, and it's called the Commander's Quarters. And the guy who runs it is called Mitch, and he has a plethora of videos on there. He does deck techs, he does budget deck techs, he has gameplay videos, 4-player Commander videos. He does a whole spoiler season when a new set's coming out. As the new cards are coming out, he does a video for every Commander card that comes. Like every possible Commander you can have for your deck. He does a video, what cards work for it, what cards like you want to try to pick up now. He's also like really heavy into budgeting. So if you're looking to get into it at a discount, he's had decks that are less than, like Commander decks, 100 card decks that are like less than $3.
Dang.
Yeah. And sure, they're not going to be like winning every match, but they're a deck that you can buy.
Learn a lot from if you're new.
Just play. Because
Commander's fun. Commander's what got me back into it last year.
Commander is fun. Commander, we didn't talk about, but Commander is...
I meant to say it's what got me back into Magic.
Yeah.
Because I, took quite a break.
No. And that's what got me back into it, too. Because I took a break, early 20s, and then probably my mid-20s. A couple guys wanted to play, and it's like, cool. And then I was like, hey, everybody's talking about Commander. We should try it. and my group just loved it, and that's all we play now. And you're the reason I started playing the other formats.
60 card.
Yeah. But Commander
shout out to
is...
Glenn again, because that's all they played, and I was like, oh man, I miss that.
Yeah.
Like, I miss that.
Yeah. Commander is 100 cards and 40 life. Now, one of those cards, and there's like partners and blah blah blah, but the most important card of your deck is your commander. It has to be a legendary creature or a planeswalker that says it can be a commander. Like, the card has to say, this could be your commander. But whatever color or colors that card is, those are the only colors you're allowed to have in that deck. The other thing that makes it really fun is that you can only have one of each card in your deck, aside from basic lands.
And that makes it very interesting.
Yeah, because rarely do you see the same hand. Because not only is it a bigger number of cards, but there's no doubles.
Yeah.
In the 60 card formats, it's up to 4 copies of each card, aside from basic lands, in your deck. So when you play Commander, it's challenging because you don't have a very clear go-to strategy. You're very often kind of playing with whatever you have, or you're digging through your deck to find what you need to win. You can't just be like, oh yeah, well, if I have these 3 cards in my opening hand, then I can do my deck and my strategy, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna mulligan until I get those 3 cards. That's almost never going to happen in Commander, because it's just too many cards.
Dude, you know my favorite spot to throw down?
Where's your favorite spot to throw down?
Growing up was always one of my faves.
Where?
The Great Wall.
The Great Wall. You know what?
We used to go throw down and eat Chinese food, and the cooks would always come over and ask us what we're playing, but they didn't know what it was.
Dude, honestly, right now, nothing sounds better other than getting some Chinese food and playing Magic.
Yeah, we would throw down right there.
I mean, literally in this moment, nothing sounds better than going to do that right now.
I had to order Chinese 2 days ago.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was craving it.
Mm-hmm.
Super hard. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We need to go to. Do you like China Bee?
Yeah.
China Bee, we gotta go say what up to Brent.
Yeah, I've seen him a couple times.
Shout out to Brent.
You can challenge him to chess again.
Yeah. I could bring my portable chessboard there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He works so much.
He does. I think he's only off Sundays.
Shout out to Brent.
I always think about hitting him up to do something, but I'm like, man, he only has one day off.
Yeah, you hit him up on that one day.
Yeah. I gotta hit him up a week in advance or a couple days maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. So, alright, so aside from Magic the Gathering, what other game do you think had as much of impact, if not more? Because Magic the Gathering had a big impact on me. And I already know what my answer is, but I want to know what your answer is. What other game?
Any game in the world
that you've played
that had a bigger impact than Magic?
At least comparable to Magic, if not bigger.
Oh, RuneScape, dude.
RuneScape?
Yeah, I mean, I really got into Magic when I was younger. I was definitely hooked. But, I don't know. I don't know if I could compare it, I think I probably like Texas Hold'em more.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I definitely like poker more. But it's a different game with a lot of similarities, surprisingly.
Yeah? Like what?
Just always wondering about what your opponent has. There's so many aspects of the game that line up with poker. It's really weird. Even chess does too now. Like, I noticed that. Just, it's so weird. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I guess, just a basic example would be like passing the turn and leaving yourself mana, and you have something, that you're waiting to play. Just a small thing like that is similar to having like a decent hand in poker and checking to your opponent to see what they do, because they may bet you could re-raise them. It's just, there's a lot of that type of, it's weird. Completely different game, but...
No, I agree. I've noticed bluffing too.
you can even bluff in Magic. It's funny.
Yeah. In 1v1 it doesn't happen too often.
No.
But in multiplayer,
Yeah.
the bluffing, they like
It's
to call
real.
They like to call it politics. You can make deals and stuff like that in multiplayer, just like, hey man, you help me out, I'll help you take down so and so or whatever. Or like,
Oh,
hey.
we did that the other night. We sure did.
Yeah, dude. It just happens naturally.
I was like, Glenn.
Someone
I was
starts
like,
going
Glenn,
off.
you help me take him out, bro. I'll just give you the win. That was you guys heard the end result of that.
Yeah.
But he was just trying to make excuses in the video. But
No, that's 100%, and it happens so naturally, man.
mm-hmm.
It's just like, hey, like this dude's a threat. Like he's got 7 4
like,
flying
hey, pipe
dragons.
down over there.
Yeah, it's like he's gonna wipe
Where's
us
your
next
pipe
turn.
down over there?
Everyone focus on this dude, and it becomes like a 3v1 situation.
Yeah,
Like
it was a 2v1 against me at first, like pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was playing those black-white tokens, man. Just love how the deck's rolling. Gonna have to do a deck tech and
Yes, I
maybe
think
just a side video or something.
I think that would be better served on YouTube, where we could show pictures of the cards.
By the way, yeah, if you're listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube.
Yes.
Troll Bar Tavern.
Shout out to ourselves. We have a YouTube channel, we have a Twitter account, and we have an Instagram. And we are working on setting up more and also getting the podcast onto more things other than just Spotify. Like the Apple and iHeartRadio. There's a whole bunch of things we can send it out to. We're working on that. For right now, as we're recording, we have Spotify, we have a Twitter, and we have an Instagram.
And a YouTube.
Yes, thank you. And our YouTube is where we're not only going to be posting our podcast with some extra clips and videos and stuff like that we just have, lying around, but also hoping to expand that into deck techs and let's plays. Just about anything. We're a small channel. We're starting out, but we're going to try everything we can until we figure out what we like to do and what we want to do.
Yeah, buddy.
But speaking of what we want to expand to, that leads back to my answer of what game has affected me
More
probably
than Magic.
More than Magic, yeah. That is Dungeons and Dragons.
Dun dun dun.
And I say that in a very loose term, that way everybody understands that I'm talking about like tabletop RPGs, but everybody knows what Dungeons and Dragons is. But yeah, again, I started playing that, and I think you were there for some of it, but I started playing in high school.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it in years.
Yeah.
I gotta get on that, man.
Dude, it's great. If everybody's there just to goof around and have a fun time and like murder everybody in the town, cool. Everybody's like on the same page. If you're down to like really role play and get into the characters and blah blah blah, great, it's awesome. If you just want to min-max your characters and just go in and stomp like dragons and hydras and stuff and just have a really cool dude. It's great. It's man, the memories I have with that are
some of the best.
some of the best, man.
You still have our old characters too. From like, I'm pretty sure we have them.
Are they in the box?
They might be. I think you had them in a folder or something. You might have given them to me.
I just saved all that stuff. I don't know why. I probably still have like Mike's and Julian's characters and everything like that. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, just you get to be creative. You get to create a character, which is a big thing. In RPG games, you get to do that, but this one kind of feels a little bit more personal, I guess, because the video games are limited by what is already like contained in them. Where Dungeons and Dragons, it's just your imagination. If you want your dude to have, you know, a mohawk, and the game doesn't have a character with a mohawk, you kind of
make one.
You can make one. You just I want him to have a mohawk. I want him to have 2 mohawks.
Glue it on the little man's head.
Yeah. Use plastic pieces. Use coins. Don't use a map. I've played games where you don't even have a map. But yeah, it's the social aspect too.
Yeah, like I would want to make my own map. You know, that'd be awesome.
They have big dry erase
Sweet.
boards. And you just like, you draw out like mountains, rocks, and trees. And then you have your dudes play around them, and then you just erase it and draw the next area.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah. It's just been great.
Any D&D YouTube channels you want to shout out? I don't, I've heard of a couple, but
yeah.
I need to find one to jump into. But also, I could just play. We could just play.
I'm telling you, I will shout out a good Dungeons and Dragons podcast. If you're interested in that.
We are.
And it is Dungeons and Daddies.
Dungeons and Daddies.
And it sounds dirty, and sometimes it is, but it's these guys. It's 4 guys and a gal. I didn't want to say girl because they're adults. And they are normal dads who got thrown into their Forgotten Realms, so thrown into D&D. So they're just like a football coach and like a rock and roll dad and like a salesman and just like a hippie. And they're like drive their minivan through a portal, and all of a sudden they're surrounded by elves and trolls and goblins, and they're trying to save their kids from whatever like dastardly evil is on there. But it's on Spotify. It's 100% free for their main campaign. You want to be a patron, you get access to even more like side campaigns and one shots and stuff like that. But it is hilarious. It's not focused around being cool. It's not really focused around even role playing, which they are good at role playing. It's focused around comedy. It's entertaining and it's funny, and it's if you want to kind of dip your toes into Dungeons and Dragons,
check them out.
Dungeons and Daddies.
I've heard people at work talk about it. I got to check it out.
You should, man. It's just like hour-long episodes, just like what we're doing, but they're just playing D&D, and you can't see anything, so you're just using the old brain to imaginate some characters and the scenarios and everything. But yeah, do you have a Magic the Gathering channel you want to shout out while we're here?
Yeah, I want to shout out to Yellow Hat.
Yellow Hat, I don't know them.
AKA Gabriel Nassif.
Ooh.
AKA Mr. Pre-Tap mana for Cruel Ultimatum and then top deck it at a pro Magic tournament.
What a flex.
What? Yeah. He pre-tapped his mana and then top decked it.
Cruel Ultimatum is like, what is it, like 2 blue, 3 black, 2 red? For like just a huge spell. I think
it's
that's
something like that.
Yeah. And he's just like, there's only one card that could like win me the game.
Yeah.
And
he won. Yeah.
Wow.
He's,
Floated the mana and then just top decked the card.
He's still playing a lot of Magic. He plays Arena. Yeah.
Yeah, Magic Arena.
He plays that. He also plays poker, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good poker player. Shout out to him. That's Yellow Hat.
Yellow Hat at YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, great. And
just a great player. Cool dude.
Yeah. Speaking of Magic Arena, if you're in an area where you have internet, but you don't have a group to play with, I was going to say friends, but that sounded a little mean. You don't have any friends, you can hop on Magic Arena and you can at least play Magic.
Right on your phone.
Yeah.
They give you decks.
Yep. You get free little starter decks. You don't have to spend money. You can spend money, but you don't have to. You can play that game 100% free. And I think it's a good way to teach people how to play, because the game itself won't let you do anything that's, an illegal move. They also have tutorials, but if you play kitchen table, it's up to who's ever teaching you to make sure you don't mess up. And sometimes that can be hard to do.
Yeah, true.
Because I know whenever...
It is nice to learn from It's definitely nice to have that as like a teacher in a way. The arena game.
Yeah. That's where I found the Oni Cold Anvil for my Rakdos deck. I found that on Arena, and I liked it so much, that's why I built my red-black deck.
Ting.
Tink.
Ting.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to get some sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would be like a morning radio. Trolling the board, 96.9.
What's your game of the week, my man? What you been playing? Like, what did you play the most?
This week?
Yeah.
This week, it was actually Spyro.
Ooh.
They have... Yeah. Well, hold on to your pants. They remastered Spyro 1, 2, and 3 for the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, and you bought it.
Oh, it was given to me, my man.
Oh, really?
I did not spend a red cent.
Nice.
And I have been replaying one of...
Dude, that was your jam growing up.
Yeah. It's the whole reason I had a PlayStation. It's because I wanted Crash Bandicoot and I wanted Spyro. And I 100% cleared Spyro 2. And I've beaten Spyro 1, 2, and 3. But I 100% cleared Spyro 2.
Gonna have to do it again on all three. Remastered.
But the graphics are so nice and so clean, man. And it's
I remember watching you play that like a ton.
Yeah. It was great. I was an only child, so the only time I played multiplayer games is when I went over to like your guys' house. So for the most part, I only, all I needed to do was buy one-player games, and I didn't have to take turns with anybody. So like I just got really good at one-player games.
I think my siblings just all kind of gave up eventually. They're like, we can't outgame him. Just let him have it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to play RuneScape. Get off the computer.
Yeah, you were aggressive with that
Get
RuneScape.
off the computer. They're just like, what is wrong with him?
You just wait in the room and just fucking like stare at the clock and just be like 2 minutes and it's my turn. 1 minute and it's my turn. Just hound him. And as soon as that clock like ticked over, you just like threw out the chair and you're like, move! I need to grind wood cutting.
Yeah, we used to take turns back in the day. We used to play an hour each, just back like all day playing RuneScape.
Yeah. We'd wake up and we'd like in the computer room, we'd like nap on the floor.
Just straight up on the floor.
Because we'd play until like 3, 4 in the morning or something like that. And you just nap on the floor and the other person would be like, hey, Hey, it's your turn. Just like stumble up there.
Yeah, I just go back to like, I don't even know. What did we do back then? I just chopped a lot of trees.
I did quests a lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I did was I tried to like,
Oh man,
get through chunks of quests during my hour.
it was such a good game to grow up on.
Yeah. I think a big part of these games is mostly the price. I think that was a big thing. A lot of our gaming was dirt cheap because we were kids. We didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So aside from like other people buying them for us, or like us scraping together like $12 to get an intro deck,
Yeah.
you could start playing these games for super cheap. And I think that's why they meant so much. Because if we had to spend $60 and then $15 a month to like play games,
Yeah, we weren't doing it.
yeah, there's no
I was
way.
like 12.
Yeah. And people sharing games with us, your brother, buying games, playing with you,
Oh man,
and then like
the PS2.
yeah,
Ungodly amount of hours put into that thing.
GTA and what was the snowboarding game? SS Tricky? Is that what it was?
I forget which one we had.
There was a snowboarding game. That's all I remember, and it was just Tony Hawk, but snowboarding.
Dude, so much Tony Hawk.
Yeah, which was another one. Again, we never bought any of these games. It was just Eddie getting these games, and then we would just fiend on them, or playing Neopets, which was also free.
Dude, I remember my parents getting me the first Sims for PS2. I was so happy.
Oh,
I was so happy, dude. I was so addicted to that game.
I think Angel's still playing it.
I still play it sometimes.
Yeah?
Not gonna lie, yeah. I'm like, well, there's Sims 2, there's like up to Sims 10 now. Like, no, I want to go back and play the first one.
Yeah.
Dude, I was addicted to that game. It's crazy.
Just building houses. People speaking some weird language. Just like, no, Timmy, you go to work. Then you take a bath.
I look at the other ones and I'm like, nah.
I never really got into The Sims.
That was the only one I played. Like,
Yeah?
like I think I tried
You
a different
just
one.
found the one you liked, and that was it.
Yeah, just I could play that any day. I was playing it on my Retroid Pocket 3 for a while. It was running pretty smooth. I was using the GameCube version, GameCube emulator.
Man, you know what game I absolutely fiended on the GameCube?
Hold on, let me guess.
What?
No, just tell me.
Sonic.
Sonic, yeah.
Was it Sonic Adventure 2?
Adventures 2, yeah.
Yeah. On the GameCube.
Just raising them, what are they called? Little guys?
The chows.
The
man.
chows.
That was my whole motivation. Like, I played that game, and I almost, 100%ed it. But, man, I was absolutely into those chows. And I bought a memory card just so I could take my chow to my friends' GameCubes and, race them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, that's really the only thing you can do with the chows.
Just race.
Yeah, you raise them and you train them and blah blah blah, and then there's obstacle courses and you can compete against your friends' chows.
Nice.
Because this was before online.
Yeah.
existed. You got a memory card and you took it to your friend's GameCube and you plugged it in,
Yeah.
and that was it.
And you could you can mate them, right, and make super rare ones,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's immortal chows that you could eventually get to, because eventually your chow just dies of old age. And it's kind of reborn as a new chow in an egg. But you could get to the point where the chow was immortal and all the stats you gave it just stayed on it. So you could just have the ultimate chow and even beat all of your friends at swimming and mountain climbing and running and all the other little obstacle course games. But yeah, just running around at the speed of sound. Got no place to go. Got to follow my rainbow.
I remember us playing a lot of Pokemon Stadium mini games.
also.
Those mini games are so fun.
Yeah. The the wood cutting with the scythers. And,
Yeah, the egg catch.
Yeah, with the chancies. Oh man,
The spin one, like the top one, the guy spins on his head or something, and you're like
the Hitmontops. Yes. You
Yeah.
gotta knock everybody else off the arena.
I also have that on the Retroid Pocket 3
I was just about to say we've got to get the emulator for that.
because we can just plug it right into the TV and Bluetooth the controller. We could play 4-player.
Yeah,
We have. I'm pretty sure I have enough controllers.
Yeah, the
Be fun.
big thing about that, which was super cool, was that you could plug. There was an adapter for the back of the controller, and you could plug in your Game Boy, your Pokemon Game Boy cartridges, and you could get your Pokemon to go from little 2D sprites to 3D animations and battle like.
That
other
is
people's
awesome.
Yeah. Had the names, had the moves, had the same stats. So you could take
Damn.
first gen and second gen, I believe, game cartridges, plug them in, and you could see your Pokemon in 3D, which was huge for a kid who's staring at squares.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah, and you could even play your Game Boy game on your TV because you could just load it up and it'd play through, and you could have a controller.
Dude, I need to get like a 3DS or something. What do you have? Do you have a 3DS?
I have a 3DS.
What's you have a good Pokemon for that? Or I gotta get something.
Yeah, I have. God, I don't remember which Pokemon. It's been so long. I have Shield for the Switch. I have the old Game Boy games, but they were cartridges. I can't remember which one I have for the 3DS, but I know I have one.
I thought you said it was pretty good, right? Whatever it was. I remember you talking about it.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't know. You might have said you might have said the light.
Oh, I was talking about the SP.
Oh,
The Game Boy Advance SP was like really, really groundbreaking. But yeah, the 3DS. I don't think I have the 3DS XL. I think it's just the regular 3DS. It's just super nice because it has its own sort of like wireless connector, so we can basically LAN, like have a LAN party.
yeah.
Just our 3DSs.
Oh, yeah.
It's super nice for that because originally you had to have the cords.
Uh-huh.
And you could only like plug two people.
I'm
in at
getting
once.
one, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of drifted off into Neverland. Your game of the week was Spyro.
Yes, that is the game that I've been playing this week. Not a lot, but
It's got racked in the most time.
Yeah. If I have the free time, that's what I'm going for. Because it's just reliving my childhood, man. I want to get the remastered Crash Bandicoots too. I think those would be awesome to go through that whole game with modern graphics. And yeah. So I'm not very far in it, but I've been putting in a little work. How about you, man? What have you been playing this week?
Dude, chess has taken most of my time.
Really, back in the
Over
chess?
my Xbox, yeah.
Oh no!
Over everything. Oh yeah, I did say I was gonna like try to take a break.
Yeah, literally last week you're like, man, I've been playing chess too much. I need to take a break. And then this week you're like, yeah, I need
It's
to take
the
a break
game of
from
the week.
everything but chess.
It's just such a fun challenge every time.
Yeah, how's your what do you have, like a ranking or something, or like a score?
Yeah, you do have online rankings.
You play on chess.com?
Chess.com, yeah.
Chess.com.
I am a noob.
Check it
I've
out.
only been playing for 2 years now, but I have gotten pretty decent, I'd say.
Mhm.
My rating I play blitz games, so that's 5 minutes each. You have 5 minutes to make all your moves. My rating's only like a little over 900. It's very low.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the time to study lately, but like at all, I haven't studied any chess in probably 6 months. I've just been playing and trying to learn from that, which is not always the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, what I should be doing is analyzing all my games once I'm done. You know, just it shows you the best move for the most part. You know, so if you can just keep that in your mind. But yeah, I've been playing for 2 years straight, like pretty much every day. Sometimes I take a little break
to like sleep.
Sleep.
No, man, I used to play in high school for a chess club, and my dad taught me when I was younger, but I haven't been keeping up with it, and it definitely shows, because I used to be able to think like multiple moves ahead, and now I'm like struggling to think like 1 or 2 moves ahead.
Yeah.
And
there's so many like little tricks that you just have to remember.
Yeah, recognizing
so many
openings,
little,
I think, is a big thing.
Well, yeah, that's huge.
Because if you recognize an opening, you know
you can
pretty
counter
much
it.
their next like 3 moves.
Yeah, you can counter it. You know.
Yeah, that's a thing you have to study, you have to analyze, you have to learn.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh yeah, no, they're probably doing this because they moved that 1 pawn.
That's sad though, because like I was studying pretty hard, and I haven't really done much in the past 6 months. Need to get on that. I need a good chess book. Is what I need. Just to, even if it's not teaching me much, I just need an interesting chess book to read.
With just like different moves and strategies in it, or what? Or just like talking about chess?
Probably just talking about it. I think I need something like that because I don't have any.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Honestly, I figured you'd have at least a few.
I know. I was thinking about buying one, but I just don't know which one I really want to buy. You know. Who is your troll of the week?
Well, all right. I had a point to bring up before we move on to the last thing. Chess. I've been thinking about this. Sorry, my throat's parched. Chess helped me in D&D.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you've got the board and you've got all these pieces on there, understanding, you know, where they can move, what their like attack ranges are, you know, flanking, and understanding all this stuff. Playing chess, even as like casually as I did, it really did help me set up like, hey, dude's got a sword, he's probably gonna be closing in distance. I don't want to be here whenever he comes in close. He can move this many feet, I can move this many feet. And I would just keep
That's funny.
kiting or setting up flankings.
The similarities between games you just would never think of.
Yeah. I mean, they're not like 100% translatable, but if you can understand basic tactics and strategy. It
feels the same.
Dude, it's pieces on a board. Like, when we get down to it, it's pieces on a board, and there's stuff that can translate to each other. Same way as between, you know, Texas Hold'em and Magic.
Yeah.
It's cards on a table. Like, at the end of the day, there's going to be similarities. There's going to be skills that transfer between the two. Not everything, but some, like, really core basic stuff is going to be there. My troll of the week.
Who's your trolley?
I honestly didn't think I haven't been like hanging out.
No
with
one's
anyone.
trolled you.
No, I've actually had a pretty good week. I mean, I've been sick. Today's the first
lucky.
day. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not the sick, but no one's trolled you.
Yeah. Oh man, you're so lucky to be sick.
Yeah, everyone was just like, "Don't troll me, I'm sick."
Yeah,
kind of mood.
I didn't talk to anybody really. Nobody really talked to me. I mean, I guess
Any-
probably my kid.
Yeah.
Probably Jack.
Jack. I was going to say, Jack didn't throw
Yo.
a candy corn at your forehead or something.
Oh, he does this thing. He cheeses whenever you yell at him because he tries to like get out of it. You'd be
Yeah.
like, dude, like quit throwing that. And he'll be like, and he'll just like stare at you with that
It's
face.
like it's been working
Yeah.
so far.
He just shows those little baby teeth and like squishes his eyes and his cheeks up, and he'll just stare at you, and like he'll hold it for like
As long as he
minutes.
has
Yeah.
to.
Like I was like,
minute.
I was like, who taught you how to like do this? Because he just like he commits, and I mean, I guess that's the only thing that's been trolling me because it's just like it's just normal parent stuff. It's like, dude, because it makes me laugh after a while, and I'll have to like turn around because I'm like I'm trying to be mad and like a tough parent.
I am mad.
And there's just a little like 2-foot little turd just cheesing at me, and I'm like, oh, I want to beat you up and hug you at the same time. Little turd. But I love him. How about you, man? Who's your troll of the week? Is it Chris?
You know what? Yeah, it's Chris. It is Chris. I mean, half the time, I don't even get my foot in the door. He just opens that door and he's like, "You ready to lose tonight?" Just right at it, dude.
Meets you at the door.
Should we listen to part 2?
Yeah. Just in case anybody forgot about part 1.
Yeah.
I don't... How could you possibly forget that? Yeah.
Well, not because you two were cheating. That's, yeah, no. Are you going to look at the camera? You want to win that and bring your game tomorrow? No, that's cheating, David. This is not cheating. David,
Tell us what happened.
all right,
Tell us what happened.
be quiet. Shut up for a second because you're cheating. All right, David, let me ask you this. If you cheat in Magic, and let's say he had that creature out there that was sacrificing creatures when you were still alive, right?
I keep sacrificing the creature.
Oh, yeah. This dude right here would have had to sacrifice 5 creatures. He only had 7. So he would have been down to 2 creatures. 2 creatures. I would have taken 6 damage. Cheater and a cheater. Nope. Listen. Come on. David, doesn't that make sense?
Saddle it up
All right,
here,
listen.
bud.
5 creatures he would have to sacrifice.
Saddle up, Buttercup.
I go, saddle up, bud. Let's go saddle up, Buttercup. Shout out to Chris. He's definitely the troll of the week.
You can see him every week. He might be your troll every single week.
He's not always that bad.
No.
He just didn't want to lose that game.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
tell me what happened. He goes way off topic,
Oh.
man. He doesn't even.
You got to state your case, honestly. I mean, you might as well try.
Yeah, I mean, he's fighting to the death, but it was past his bedtime. He had to go to school in the morning.
Aw. How old is Chris?
He's like 17.
Oh, all right. I thought he was like older. I didn't think he was like 15. He's got like a mustache and stuff. So like, I was like, but you never know.
Glad. Lolly, lolly, law.
Yeah.
That shit was good. Who is your Bard of the Week?
Oh, my Bard of the Week.
El Bardo. Who's been there? Anybody?
Man, I mean, again, I was sick, so like,
Oh, yeah.
nobody was really taking care of me. I was the one taking care of other kids.
Any good YouTube videos? So, like, anybody make any content that could earn them the spot of the Bard?
Yeah, the bar's real low this week, so it was just someone I
Gonna
found.
have to be a YouTube channel.
Yeah, someone I found mildly amusing. Oh, that's mean. I don't want to say that because then I give them a shout out. Of course, they're amusing. You know what? I've been watching Dropout lately.
What's that?
Dropout is a streaming service owned by College Humor. I don't know if you remember College Humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they made like a resurgence, and now they have their own sort of like dedicated Dungeons Dragons kind of thing, where they just, they're running like 6 or so campaigns right now, maybe more than that. And I've just been watching that while I've been sick, and just like having what sounds like 5 other people in the background just talking to me, like talking to each other. It really helped the past few days of constant vomiting. It just kind of sounds like I'm in a room with people, and they're all adults too. That's another thing.
So they are the bards.
They are the bards. They're putting out good, solid content. And even while sick, that content helped me get through that sickness. But yeah, I'm on like episode 3 of Unsleeping City, which is their fantasy New York based campaign. Which is
Nice.
It's really good. They like adapted the classes to like modern day sort of things. So it's like a mix of like modern day New York and Dungeons and Dragons. It's really good. But yeah. So they're gonna be my bard of the week. How about your bard of the week, Troll?
Dude, my bard of the week is the Hispanic fellow who sold me a car yesterday. 100%. He didn't speak any English, but with a phone call to his son, he was able to translate. It was great.
I met a man in a parking lot.
Listen, I took a chance here. I was
We
like,
couldn't talk to each other, but I got a car out of it somehow.
yeah, and I loved the car. Not gonna lie.
I just saw it tonight. I literally got it yesterday.
Yesterday morning.
Wow. That's insane. Yeah. It's a cool little Honda.
Thank you.
It's a sweet little car, man. It's got blue lights. I forgot to tell you, it's got blue lights over the license plate.
Oh, really?
It does, yeah. So it matches the front.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was driving.
I haven't really had time to like actually look at it
Mm-hmm.
because I worked yesterday and today.
Yeah. No, it's got little blue lights over the license plate.
Ooh,
You
so
might have to get some like blue lights.
do my brake lights work?
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Because
Yeah.
things I cannot check whenever.
Yes. Yeah. No, all your brake lights are working. Turn signals are working.
I did check those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, no, it's a cool little car, man. I think it's exactly what you need, honestly. You don't need anything like crazy or.
Sadly, I forget the man's name, but
Oh no!
but he's definitely my bard of the week. You could tell he took care of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would try to talk to him, but he didn't understand one word.
And
So
you didn't understand one word.
mm-mm.
So
No, I don't know a lot of Spanish, but
you know what? Look at that, man. Good deeds exceeding language, cultures, and backgrounds.
yeah, I was like, let me roll up in your hood. Like, I'm not scared. You know, let's
Yeah.
see what's going down. And he was super cool.
Yeah. Just 2 people just exchanging goods and services and money and
Without even having to speak to each other, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I said, he did call his son, and I was like, just had to ask one thing basically, and he translated that for him, and it was a yes.
Good to go.
All he said was yes, and
Yes.
so he is definitely my bard of the week.
Yeah. It's a solid. You needed a car, man.
Yep.
Everybody needs a car. But yeah, you definitely needed a car. 'Cause I know it's been a bum ride trying to like get a hold of that person.
Bother
get a
other
ride.
people, yeah.
just
Super
to go to
annoying.
work.
Yeah, but also I love walking.
Yeah, you're not so far away that you can't walk to work, but
I've always been a hardcore walker.
Yeah. Oh, I used to walk before I had kids. I used to walk everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's gonna take you like 20 minutes to get there, and it's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, even like first job, just walking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, happy with the new car. Mr. Sanchez. I remembered his last name. I can't remember his first name.
Mr. Sanchez, you get a shout out.
Yeah. No rust on the car. Like, thank you, sir.
Yeah, took care of it.
He put some sweet lights in we just saw tonight. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, there's two little blue lights next to the headlights that are just like a neon blue, and then there's he must have replaced the little lights that go over the license plate with just like little blue bulbs, or like installed new ones.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, just nice.
Yeah. Like the first thing he did was like pop the hood for me. He wanted to show me that artwork inside that beautiful machine rolling, and yeah, a lot of people don't really do that, you know.
No,
from my experience.
No, they won't let you like look in the hood, or like some people. I've looked quote unquote looked at cars where they don't want you to like look underneath.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hell no! Get right on it.
Or they want you to
there's
pop the
snow
trunk
outside right now, so I couldn't even do it.
Yeah,
but you could tell there's like he's got them little side skirts that kind of protect it. He definitely took care of it.
Oh yeah, he definitely used it, but you can tell he took care of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is episode 2, my man.
Yeah, buddy.
We just did that, and
it's time to go play video games.
It's time to play some games. But yeah, check us out on Spotify. I mean, it's probably where you're listening now. But like I said, we're also going to be putting this on YouTube. If you want updates, and we share a lot of stuff from the community on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter seems to be more popular than Instagram. I see a lot more activity on Twitter than I do Instagram right now.
For like information, yeah.
Yeah. People just post stuff like crazy. And it just kind of seems more active. So if you're only going to pick one, I would say do the Twitter.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. Again, Trollbar Tavern. Everything's Trollbar Tavern. The YouTube, the Spotify, the Twitter, the Instagram. Excuse me.
Thank you for stopping by.